Yeah. Hey guys, can't talk today already. Starting it off good. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with a couple of nerds. We got Nerdarchist Ted here in the house, and we have Wayne from Dungeon Crate and like a million podcasts.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, how is everybody feeling today?
Doing good.
Feeling fantastic.
Excellent.
Motivated. It's Tuesday. I don't know what that means, but
It is Tuesday. You're correct there.
yeah, you know.
We actually had one of your partners on yesterday.
Oh, really?
We had Nord Games on, and I know they've done stuff with you guys in the past.
Oh, yeah, Chris. Yeah, they were with us from the very beginning, too. That was always good. And we did a series of their decks and whatnot. They've got more coming out, and we've done their adventures as well. So
Yeah. I finally got to meet the other guys from across the pond. Well,
yeah.
I should say, I use guys amorphously because one of the guys is actually a gal, but Lou and Ralph, his partners, and Chris is a really good guy. But we're here to talk about Dungeon Crate, some podcasting. What's going on, man?
Well, we've got a lot going on. Dungeon Crate's now in our second year. And for those that don't know, I mean, it's been a ride. This is so you're looking at pretty much the entire Dungeon Crate company right here. So I pick all the stuff. I curate the boxes. I organize everything. I answer all the customer service. I do all that stuff. So going into our second year is great. It's been a lot of new things happening. We just released a sweepstakes kind of contest with probably about $500 worth of prizes in it. And yeah, because I like to give stuff away as well. But
I saw a Kraken in those prizes.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's great. It's a huge model. I should bring it up to show everybody here. I got it. Along with that, I wanted to put on. So what I wanted to do was find a program that would make it a game as well. Because I mean, we do a lot of stuff where if you follow us on Facebook, I'll just say one day, all right, post pictures of your cats in your games. And I'll give a prize away just randomly because I love giving away stuff. I feel that as a subscription box service, I'm trying to do things differently than everybody else, whether that's giving stuff away randomly, holding prize sweepstakes, sending out nice birthday messages that I hand make and all that kind of stuff. Just things that other people don't, And so I saw this, I had this Kraken that was a sample that was given to us. And I was like, oh, I bet I can make this. I look at it and I go, I would love to paint this, but it is so massive and I have such bad eyesight when it comes to small stuff.
Is it the one from Dungeon Crawler?
Yeah. In fact, I got it right here. Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, Ted's actually got one not too far away as well.
Mine is over at the Nerdarchy corner.
The Nerdarchy headquarters.
And it's all unpainted. So I know that some people got the painted version, but this is the actual version.
Yeah,
with another one here and another piece here. Just I haven't glued them on, but yeah, they are. It's a pretty cool.
It is a fantastic beast. I've got one, and I backed their behemoth Kickstarter, so I'm eagerly anticipating that arrival.
Nice. Yeah, it's a solid piece too. It is actually. Let's see, I mean, this is all solid. So I wanted to build a prize pack, 3 prize packages. So my whole point was to make this like a game, and I found a program that allows you to enter and then do things like share posts or like things on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you do, you earn experience points. So you earn a point and an entry for each one of those. And if you get somebody to, I think if you share it or send an email, you get 3 entries. So it's kind of like you get experience points. And then I added in a whole bunch of other stuff. I've got vendors sending me free stuff to donate for the prize packages, just so that we can have 3 giant prize packages. One of them will have the Kraken, the other 2 will have other cool stuff. So that's been a lot of stuff going on. And then world building. We made the map of Halcyon. That's going to be our new world. We're starting to write our own adventures and put the locations into there. So when you play our adventures, you'll be able to see it right on the map. You can see the map in the background here. I got that done. It took me weeks, but I got it done.
I think I used that Kraken in my Thanksgiving game. Did I use it, Ted? I don't remember if we had the mini then or not.
Yeah,
mini.
I I really don't think we did. I think because it was such a massive space battle that we just kind of just ran with it.
Yeah, I thought we put it on the table. Yeah, because we definitely have that sucker, and we also used the plastic flat mats from
Arknight.
Arknight?
Yes.
Oh, I love those too.
The boats in Coliseum and that stuff is really cool.
Yes, yeah. It's funny they added the arena, and I had built one out of foam. I had a crazy random foam piece, and it looked pretty much just like it. It was so great, circle everything. It's just 3D.
Nice.
I love their flat terrain and their and the flat minis too. If I could, I still need to do this, but I need to purchase a bulk their whole package because I really like the flat minis, and they look great on the table with regular 3D minis as well.
Well, the great thing with the Arknight minis is they're double-sided, and it's not like a face and a face. It's a face and the back, so you can see which direction the character would be oriented. Like I think 3D mini.
People don't get that because they're clear around the image that you can see the table through it, so it really does look like a 3D miniature. Next to them.
I love those things, and I think we found them through Dungeon Crate. I think that was our first encounter with them.
Yeah, that is where we came across them.
I had those in the first or the second box that we did, and I loved them. And then I've put a few more in there, like they had an elemental. They made some custom elementals for us so they could fit in our box. But yeah, they're fantastic, and I'd like to get them all. And they're great for a DM because, man, I'll tell you what, I don't know. I play 4 different games. I don't think I have one of them at my house, and I'm the DM. Crying out loud, I got to lug. You wouldn't believe the crap I have to lug. And most of the time, it's like you don't know what minis. You kind of have an idea of what minis you're going to use, but I have to bring them all anyway. So I've got like a forklift, and I'm driving people's garage with all my stuff. These are great. You can put them all into basically a folder, put it in your bag, your side pack, or whatever, and take them. You don't have to worry. So,
yeah. That's definitely true. I mean, like we usually game at one place, so that makes it kind of easy. And Ted's just got totes of minis, so it's a little tough, when you're a traveling DM,
right?
To have all your stuff with you. Plus, the player is going to throw you a curveball anyway. So if you try and pre-select your minis, they're going to be useless anyway.
Yeah, and I'm usually not that prepared. I hate to say it. I'm a pretty casual DM, so I like adventures that we can that I can briefly go over beforehand, and then as I'm going, I can roll with it as I go, which is one of the things too. And coming up with our own adventures that I was looking at, I've gotten a lot of adventures from a lot of different companies, all different styles, all different play types, and I look at them all, and I've played a lot of them through our dungeon club. We kind of have like a little one-off session for people who don't want to be in a campaign so much. So locals, I say, come over. I'll supply everything you need, even pre-generated characters. Come over, either learn how to play or play with this. It's a one-off deal, and then you get to always go home with some fun stuff. But we test out these things, and we kind of give our opinions on how the modules are. So what I found was that there's a lot of play style in some of these modules that I'm not used to, or aren't complete, or maybe there's grammatical errors. There's always something. There's maybe too much background for the DM that he'll never give to the players, and not enough flavor text for the players. I want to be able to run through a dungeon that has, interesting flavor text for the players, so I don't have to make it up like an idiot on the fly, because I don't care what the background of the story is necessarily if it's not going to affect the players at all. So we're working really hard on coming up with some new adventures of our own that are very easy to play for a DM, and super interesting for the player as well. So it's not, a lot of times they're confusing, or you have to go back and forth or do a lot of prep. So another big problem.
I guess that's one of the things we talk about a lot of times on our channel, is this idea of the DM basically having these exercises in mental masturbation, where he comes up with all this stuff that really is never going to be discovered by the players. But the problem is, now he's made it. so he wants them to discover it.
Right.
You know, so it's going to get dumped on them at some point or another, whether they really want it or not, whether it adds to the play experience or not. We're
Exactly.
we're minimalists when it comes to gaming, pretty much, and creating stuff in advance. You know, never make more than you really truly need.
Right. And I just find that a lot of there's a lot of space you could save when making an adventure, that if it's not an encounter. So some of them are just adventure hooks and encounters, but some of them are full on, hey, this isn't a continuing encounter, but it's more of a, could be put into a continuing campaign. And I just found that, wow, if you're having to, in fact, one of them, and I believe this one was a full adventure, multi-pages. It was a full size, and going through it, it didn't have any flavor text. As far, it told you the room, and you're reading it out loud to the players. Now, if you don't pre-read it, it'd be like, oh, you walk into a 30 by 10 room or 20 by 30 room. It is dark and dusty, and it smells dank. And there's a trap right in there. Whoever steps on this, you know, it just goes into stuff for the DM. And I've messed up a couple of times by, oops, too much, because it wasn't very clear, and it wasn't, or you're going back and forth all over the module to try and run this game for your players.
We've shared this story before, but a long time ago, a friend of mine wanted to run a module, and most of the time we do homebrew stuff. You know, we make our own world, we run with it. But he wanted to do this thing. He had this grand idea, and he was rather new into DMing. So I mean, he literally was reading right out of the book, and he utters the line, you know, as a narrative, the PCC, and like it's been at least 18 years, and we still don't let him live it down.
Oh, really?
You need a website.
Oh my God.
So
didn't let him down. Didn't let him off the hook. That's the best part.
Real friends never will.
No, of course not. Nope.
So what are you most excited about, what you've done with Dungeon Crate so far, and, you know, going forward, what is something that you're really interested in doing with it?
Well, I think the main thing is, and this is the game, and I try to explain this in some of my my videos and whatnot, but I'm really just trying to get a box a number of things. One, I want to educate the potential customers. The one thing about Dungeon Crate, we were the first RPG accessory subscription box that came out. Myth Horde was out before us, and we're good friends, actually. I'm good friends with Jared. And I made sure that we were doing different things. And so he was doing mostly print. I was doing just all the toys. And the game is, nerds are different than, you know, we're a different group. We have our very set ways of things that we like to play with, and not so educating them, because nobody had a crate like this before. They were used to Loot Crate, which has maybe 10% of it you might use, and the rest is just stuff. That was the big thing. So coming up with unique items, and not unique items, but just different items for people, trying to appease everybody. That's the hard game, but something so that if you continue the subscription, you will be able to use at least 90, if not 95% of what we send you. And also coming up with other things to maximize your box. We have a Facebook group like the Dungeon Crate Trading Post, where if you don't like something, and it's going to happen, you're like, I don't use this, or I don't use these coins. You can go on there and trade with other subscribers, so that in the end, you actually get you maximize your subscription. We're looking at theme boxes, like completely theme with a couple of different themes. One, so we want to start doing things like a dwarf box, or a cleric box, or something like classes or races.
Well, you've done a dragon box, and you've done a dice box, right?
Yep. We've done that. We've got a lifestyle box coming up, so it's going to have more things to use and wear. We've got a celebrity box coming up. I've gotten in touch with a couple of people that are gamers that are in the public eye, and super excited. And I can't announce who it's going to be the first one yet, anyways, because I haven't confirmed it. But he's definitely interested in working with us. And so my guest curated boxes are one of the big things that I'm coming up with. I think it'd be really fun for everybody. Nobody else is doing it besides things like, boxes like, of course, Loot Crate, Hemper Box. If you like that, they do celebrity curated boxes. So I think we could do the same, and it'd be really cool to showcase that. So we'll have somebody that's going to be helping me curate the box of things that they like. It's going to be the same price, just going to come in the regular subscription, but it's going to also feature a lot of the stuff that they personally curate, with probably a prize given away by, because this guy also makes stuff, so he's going to do that. And I want to do more of those, so that's kind of a big thing that I'm working on as well, is getting people to guest curate Dungeon Crate, just to go along and change it up, make it different. So that's kind of the big things that are coming up with Dungeon Crate. And we've got a lot of new vendors, and we're doing conventions, all that kind of stuff. So
will you guys be at Origins or Gen Con?
No, in fact, the group that I went with, usually I don't go to Gen Con. We don't get a table there because it's really expensive. I have gone the past 3 years. Gen Con was the reason I started Dungeon Crate. I went there and I found all these great vendors. I said, I want a box like this. Couldn't find one, so I started it. So Gen Con was mine, but this year we're not going. It just is a little bit out of everybody's budget. And I usually go there just as a convention goer, not as for Dungeon Crate. I think we're going to go to Planet Comic-Con this weekend. So if you guys are in the Kansas City area, you can come out and see us there. We're going to go in our street clothes, and then we're going to go back, have lunch, come back as my wife and I in our barbarian costumes, and it's a chance to dress up. So we're cranking all week long to try and get our costumes ready for that. I don't cosplay because I don't like to dress up as anybody else.
I cosplay a little bit. I'm not the best at it. I don't go to a huge amount of conventions, but I'm trying to get better.
I call it, well, it's because I don't have anything that I really want to dress up as. I mean, I don't have a good enough chest to dress up as Conan or something. So I tend to go as a D&D character. So that's why I call it costuming instead of cosplaying. Plus I'm 49 years old, and I don't think I want to dress up as a Power Ranger or but I love the people that do. That's one of my favorite things. So we're going to go to Planet Comic-Con and do that. And I think we're going to sponsor, and this is awesome. So for all of you that are going this year, we're going to go to Hawaii Con, and we apparently it's a pretty small convention. They've got a lot of celebrities, but it's in Hawaii. So I don't care if it's a shack with a couple of dudes going,
Wait a minute, when's Hawaii Con? I might have to figure that one out.
I think that's in August, and we're going to be sponsoring their game room. So we're going to sponsor the game room. We're going to have a panel. We're going to be on panels, and we're going to be we have a table there as well. So yeah, I figure why not? There's, it's a business expense, right?
Absolutely.
Right. All right. So sure. So yeah,
it's definitely a business expense.
Yeah. Somehow we have to fit that all in with our family trip to Harry Potter World. So,
Nice.
Well, if your plane has to stop, in Harry Potter World, is that in Orlando?
Yeah, it's in Orlando.
Yeah,
that's another trip, so it'll be fun.
Sounds like a good time. I didn't know about the Hawaii Con. I'm gonna have to look into that one. This year might be a little bit tough though. I am going to Origins, and that's coming up. And me and Staff Writer Doug will be there, and then we're also going to be Staff Writer Doug will be hitting Gen Con. And remember, guys, if you want a Nerdarchy to sleep on your floor, that can still happen. Otherwise, I think we're sleeping in our cars, but we'll figure something out.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things. They reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, would you like to sponsor our game room?" Basically, offering prize support. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Sure," but it's Hawaii. So Gen Con, Origin, Hawaii Con.
Yeah. That was not even on my radar, to be honest with you.
Oh, I know. I didn't even know either.
Also, that being said, I can drive to the other two. And I can't really drive to Hawaii. I mean, unless I do a Muppet style montage, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, but you guys did the cruise.
We did do the cruise.
That had to have been cool tol, though.
That was very cool.
I mean,
and we gave away the cabin on the cruise. I don't know what we're going to do now. Look, we're kind of screwed. How do you can we get like a flight into space or something to give away? We need to top the cruise somehow. I'm just not sure how we're going to do that.
All right, NASA, let's see if we can up the ante here.
Conventions are really fun. And that's the weird thing about conventions with Dungeon Crate is that we've done a few. Like our first year we did a few and we had tables and whatnot. And I'll tell you what, that's a long weekend. It's a long weekend to run a table, especially if you're not just a vendor. And I think the first time we were just trying to collect emails and spread the word, and we were giving away prizes. We have a giant dice tower, and I've got these big giant foam dice, and I would have people roll for prizes, which was great. We had hundreds of people just line up at our booth just to roll on that damn dice tower. It was awesome. But it's really expensive, and since really we only work off our online retail, with the overstock from our crates and that kind of thing, it was a little much. So I think we're only going to have a table at Hawaii Con and probably Comic Con, which is our local one here, and then probably just do a street team and just go look for vendors and whatnot at the other conventions.
Cool. So. Guerrilla style.
That's right. I got to figure that out.
But also,
get out.
It may or may not involve gorilla costumes. We don't know yet.
But by going to the con, as you said, the street team, that would allow you to actually talk and meet vendors. Number one, you get the experience, but then you get to see who else is out there in the field that you haven't met or haven't interacted with, and you would be able to do the sales pitch of, hey, would you want to be in the crate? And
yep.
I can imagine that from the perspective of just doing it from the home is got to be a lot easier at the conventions than it is,
right.
a cold email.
Oh yeah, totally. And that way they get to meet us in person, and I'm way better in person than I am via email. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people they want to be in the crate, and the whole thing is balancing out the price. They're, what kind of price can we get for the amount that we want to order? And they're usually pretty great about it. And the cool thing is a lot of people at the conventions, I look for smaller companies as well. We've started with a few companies, and this is something not everybody knows, but when we started out, we were working with a lot of makers as well. New companies, small companies. Now you can imagine they're trying to get into this world of products and whatnot, and get out there and get exposed to everybody. Heck, it's hard for me to get exposed to all the people we have. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet, and yet I've got 11,000 Facebook fans. So there's a lot out there, and to get exposed. So some of these small companies have a really hard time just trying to pay for their laser cutters or their materials. And I'd be able to come in and go, hey, look, I can buy, hundreds of these every month from you. And as long as you make what we want to make, and I'll talk to people and see what they want. And I've been able to help these companies a lot, which made me feel really good. I've been able to support them as well as them supporting us. So a lot of people don't realize that some of the stuff that they're getting are from very small companies that are really just trying to break out and get exposed to people. So that's another reason why we do it as well.
So another thing is, and this is, I guess, more for the actual subscribers of, these crates, is when you get exposure to a company, if there's something that you like, please go support them so that these things can kind of continue. I know I've placed orders based off of stuff that I've gotten out of Dungeon Crate and similar products. And, you're talking about the laser cutter, so I'm assuming that's advanced deployment. And, we mentioned Arknight, and, I haven't done, I've placed orders with both places, and, it's only gonna make the crates better by supporting these companies.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I always try and let people know too. I think when you first find a crate like this, a lot of people, when they're looking at subscription boxes, and I found this at the very beginning too, they really look at like, well, am I getting my money's worth? Or, is this a screaming deal? Dungeon Crate is not for a screaming deal. I'm not going to put in $100 worth of product for your $29.95. I just can't afford it. I'm a business as well. I don't make that much off of each box, but I have to make something. Right. So I work to try and get the best deals, but I'm really looking to build a community, and I'm really looking to expose people to these different smaller companies that have really cool things. And if we ask them, they'll make us even more cool stuff that we come up with. So it's not about getting a screaming deal. Don't go into Dungeon Crate thinking that you're going to get just a open it up and things are going to explode out of it and your whole house is going to be filled with really cool stuff. It's an overall experience. If you just go get one crate, I suggest don't even get the 1 month subscription unless you just want to be able to turn it off. Start with a 3 or start with an adventure vault. All my overstock goes into adventure vaults. I randomly pick out stuff. $20. It's not a subscription. You can get that and just see what we have. And also do your homework. I would always tell people, go online, go see what my pass boxes are. Read the FAQs. I didn't spend hours making FAQs for you to just click over them. And I will have to answer every email like, oh no, this is when you're going to get your shipment. This is when all this happens. So it's more about creating an overall experience with these things.
I know I look forward to the middle of the month when the box shows up. I've actually got the current month's here. And,
last month was interesting.
I enjoy doing it, and it's not for everyone. As you said, if you're looking for that screaming deal, and I've seen on Facebook groups and other places where people are like, oh, I'm gonna whine, bitch, moan because they're gonna compare it to a dollar value of what they'll see on, as you mentioned, Loot Crate, which I've gotten Loot Crate for a while, and I do not plan on renewing that one when that comes up, just because it's more a collection of, at this point in time, a t-shirt and junk that just sits on the shelf. I don't need any more of that, especially not stuff that I'm not hand picking. Whereas everything that comes in Dungeon Crate is typically stuff that can be used at the table, and I prefer that.
We have a thing that we say whenever we do the unboxing for these style crates is the onus is on you as the GM getting these to put them in your game and get the most value out of it, because generally everything in there is usable and can be put into a D&D game with very little work. So you have this stuff. If you're getting these crates, then if you want to get the most out of your dollar, well, figure out how to use it in your games.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing too that I try and let people know is that, I'm the one doing all the purchasing, so I will tend to go and get items that I like. Man, I love coins. And selfishly, I don't sell a lot of the coins online because I hoard them all. I've got a huge treasure chest full of them. My 15-year-old self is freaking out, loves it. So, but I actually have some coins online now. But so some of the things I try to pick things that I like that I would use in my game. And granted, I have everything that I ever wanted to use in my game. I use a percentage of it in each game. I don't use everything all the time. The weird thing is, being the owner of this, the feedback that I'll get one email that says, "Love the crate. It's awesome. I could use everything in it. This was amazing. Keep up the good work. I love the dice. I love the coins. I love those decks. Oh, great." And then I'll get another email same day. Disappointed. I don't know what I'm going to use these coins for. They're just here. Oh, the cheap trinkets that you're throwing in just to fill it. I don't like those either. Whatever. I don't know what those are. And big deal. It's a treasure chest or whatever. So a lot of times I take that with a grain of salt, but I do listen to people as to what they like and what they don't like. And so I try and mix it up. So if I get a lot, I don't know, I try and mix it up, and I really just sometimes just try and go straight down the middle. I can't please everyone.
Yeah, and I was about to say that exactly. It is impossible to please every single gamer unless you're willing to, have a full refund, no exceptions policy, or whatever have you, or just be like, all right, well, I'm gonna fill this box with so much stuff that people can't possibly complain, and even if you go that route, people are still gonna complain.
Yeah. I just won't make any money off it. I'll have you guys take stuff off my hands. It's like,
So
but that's why I try and do videos too, to let people know. Like I did a video and I did blogs on how to use these coins, how to use coins and treasure in your game. If you haven't thought of it before, I actually so in a couple of my groups, I give them coins for their personal wealth. Whatever they're carrying on them, they have to carry with them to each game in a leather bag, that amount of money. So if they want to buy an ale, they want to get a room, they want to get a horse, I tell them how much it is and they give me the proper coinage and I give them the change. It's kind of like a monopoly, and it works out really great. Other times you can use coins for inspiration tokens, markers, things like that, or collect them. I mean, I just go to my treasure chest sometimes, shut my door, look around, and I just go.
For years, I've been going to a steampunk convention that's kind of local to this area, and there's been a number of different coin vendors that I've encountered at conventions, and I was like, all right, well, perhaps this guy is a little bit of a coin collector, and I've actually got a little leather belt pouch that I wear, and I keep all these coins, and there's no duplicates in it. And ever since that, I've been getting the Dungeon Crate coins. I just go ahead and I toss those in there as well, and it's just like, all right, well, now I've more than doubled or tripled how many different cool, unique coins that this guy is carrying.
So real quick, we usually do a roll call, so we want to get that going on. And also, for you guys paying attention in the chat, Nerdarchy Ryan is in the house. That Dream Syndicate thingy is him. We also have staff writer Megan, Doug, web chief and editor Ty Johnson. I saw him earlier. Staff writer Scott Garrity in the house as well. And also Chris from Nord Games is. I've seen him floating in and out of the chat as well. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for showing up and hanging out with us. As always, we appreciate you guys spending either your morning or your lunchtime or your early evening if you're over across the pond, wherever you may be with us.
Yeah, sleeping, staying up late. Oh,
so what do we got here? ABQ in the house. We got Illinois, Utah, Central Florida, Denmark, Sweden, Jersey, Wales, Washington State, Georgia.
Wow.
California, Jacksonville, Kentucky, Cleveland, Norway, Philly. Oh, we got a bunch of Scandinavian countries today. Nice. Boston. They excite me for some reason. I don't know why. It just makes you think of Manowar. Israel, Quebec. We got South Carolina in the house. Oregon, Alaska. You guys get internet in Alaska? California, Massachusetts, Canada. So we are all over the world today. Everybody. Welcome, guys, and well met, and thanks for hanging out with us. Greatly appreciated.
And I did want to shout out to everybody too. This might be a good, if you guys are subscribers or were subscribers or whatever, you guys can ask questions on here. Ask me some questions. We'll get them answered. If you've got ideas too, I'm always up for, hey, this is a cool thing I found. Let's put this in your crate. You can always shoot me a message on Facebook or email and say, hey, do that too. But if you guys have any questions, I'm open. I'm all ears. Let me have it.
Do you have any either dream company or dream item that you'd love to have in the crate that you just haven't managed to nail down yet?
We do have one question for you real quick.
Oh, do it.
So, patrons always go first here on the Nerdarchy live chats, and so I post up the day before to see if we have any questions. So Wayne Harmon, some of our crates contain miniatures. Will they be exclusively using Reaper miniatures, or are they plans to use other miniatures companies? Thanks. Keep up the great work.
Actually, yeah, Reaper just happens to be really easy. They've got different types. They've got the nylon bones. They've also got the metal miniatures. And also have used Dungeon Crawler Minis. So we're working with them as well. And I'm looking around for some other companies that would have items that I could get in bulk at that cost. So yeah, I'm open to it. It's just a matter of finding them and that ease of ordering. So it depends on, can they do bulk orders? Can they do other things? And then what would people like that they can't get from these companies that I'm using on this too? I'm way open. I don't care if I'm using Reaper or anything else, but it just sometimes works out good because I like the quality of the Reaper models, but I found great quality in all these other ones. Now I do know that like RPG Crate uses what is that, effing cool minis?
Yes.
So part of what I like to do is because I know that some people have subscription. The cool thing about having multiple now having multiple RPG boxes out there is that you have your choice. Whatever style of play you do, you can choose one of those three. Me, RPG, or Myth Horde. So I know that he uses that. So what I try and do is I try and stay away from the same companies that some of these others are using all the time, because I don't want to be redundant. I don't want to compete. And that's that. So, but yeah, I'm going to try and get some other companies involved with miniatures, especially if we can find some unique kind of cool ones that would work with the things that we have going on.
So I'll just throw this out there as a kind of a suggestion or an idea. But have you ever looked into seeing what kind of bulk deals might be gotten kind of away from the vendor, and to see whether you're like, all right, well, not everyone's going to get the same thing, But if you can get more things for less than what the vendor might be offering, say like from eBay or those kind of sites.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what your cost is, but I've seen ridiculous prices and things shared from people in different groups and whatnot. Have you thought about that idea?
That's a trick in itself, and I'm always open to for help on that. To be honest, we mentioned earlier. In here, so two things. One, this last box was that kind of situation. And I'm kind of adding in more in this next boxes coming up, because I was able to get a certain amount of those ingots from Rare Elements Foundry at a great price. They were not making them anymore. And I didn't want to just let them go. I love these things. I thought other people would too. So I only had, so like half the people got the ingots, half the people got a bag with one of their specialty coins, and then the other one, like 10 other coins, and there's 11 coins along with that, and there were 6 ingots. I don't like to do that too often, mainly because if you don't like the coins but you'd rather have the ingots, we just don't know what you like. I did that once as a test, and once because I just wanted to get I didn't want anybody else to get the rest of those ingots. We got them. If you got them in your crate, you won't find them anywhere else. They're very collectible. I guess I'm saying that now, making them collectible. I do have some left over. They didn't have the cards in them, so for some reason my fulfillment center didn't put them in with the crates, because they want to make sure that there's complete products in each package. So I do have some left over. I've posted on our trading post if you want those, to please message me instead of those the coins, or as well as. Now, you talked about big items that we're looking for. I actually am now looking into working with ThinkGeek, because they have some cool stuff, and they do wholesale stuff. I would love to get socks. My wife actually is all about the socks. We wanted to do a lifestyle box where you can get a pair of socks and whatnot. So we're looking at, but that incredibly hard to find at a right price. Looking for dragon socks, dice socks, or anything like that. Everybody seems to like socks. I don't think people get them very often, but we thought we'd like to try that once as well. I don't know. And that's the thing, is some of these items too. Could I do a box that has one high priced item? Like, what if we went to Elderwood and said, we'd like your super awesome dice boxes, those hex boxes, but maybe they cost me $12 each or more, $15. That's, the budget per box has to stay within a limit. But if I did something like that, and then maybe got some bonus items from other companies to put in there, I don't know. I don't know if people would like that, or if they rather would have more items but less expensive each. So
let's see, Regilio, do you have a virtual suggestion box for your crates?
I do. It's called Facebook Message or email. Anybody that's got suggestions, go ahead and you can send me an email to wayne@dungeoncrate.com. You can message me on the Facebook page and leave links. That's probably the best way. I don't have any other real system to take suggestions, but I just want everybody to know that I'm totally open to all suggestions. I'm also open to any criticisms, at least ones that are thought out. I'd like to know why you didn't like an item in the box. I want to know why your experience wasn't fulfilling. I want to know why you're disappointed. Not that I'm going to be able to do a ton about it, but I think that you learn a lot with those negative critiques from those people that take the time to explain why they didn't like it. And so on top of that, yeah, it's all just getting a hold of me on messages, because I'll read and respond to every single one.
So one of the things you could do too is use like Facebook polls and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys have an email list. A lot of times the different emailers have polls built into them. So when you're asking that question, would people want one big item with, not as much stuff in it? That would be a good place for you to put those.
Yeah. The polling, I think, is a great tool to use for that type of question. The only thing I've run into is that there's such a split. It could literally come down to 50% of the people say, yeah, that'd be great. And the other 50% like, nope, I want more items. You take that chance on oh, I don't use dice in my games. What the hell, really? I don't use minis in my games, or we don't use anything like that. I'm like, wow. So you sit around a table, and don't get me wrong, guys. If you do this, that's totally fine. It just freaks me the hell out when I see people that are around a tiny table and all they have are the character sheets and some dice, and that's it. Not even a DM screen, no minis, no maps, nothing. It's all in your head. I'm like, man, I had to do that when I was a kid. I'm not doing that now. I'm going to have all the toys because I can. But so that.
So Ryan says using dice is so unthespian.
What's the matter with you? Just call out random numbers. Oh my God, man.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like we're running a game. We're gearing up to start playing. We did 2 session zeros on it, and we did a poll with our patrons to pick the type of game we'd play.
All right.
And there was like 4 things that were all within a couple of votes of each other. So yeah, I absolutely get where you're coming from with that. But it does, at the end of the day, though, it does give you some feedback to work with anyway.
Right. I don't think people know how hard it is to pick stuff like that. I mean, it's probably the hardest part of my business is setting up the boxes. And then it's like, my wife is always about like, hey, we got to have themes. I'm like, oh my God, but like, I can actually get these items that fits into the budget, but it is a Pandora's box. I have no, how do I build a theme around it? This next crate though, so we've come to this when we're doing our own adventures. I was telling you about that earlier. This next box actually, and I'll give you a little preview, is going to be all about that adventure. So we've got a new adventure that's going to be a booklet. It's probably a single or double page, but everything in the box will be relatable to that adventure. And we're trying this out once in a while. So when you open it up, you get the adventure, and the minis and the different things that are going to be in there are going to relate to that adventure. You can use those minis in your game and when you're running this adventure. So sometimes we're going to be theming around the actual module in there for you. So you can open up and you've got an adventure in a box. Boom. Got everything, all the props, everything you need. And we were looking at doing things like that with Arknight, where we would have a small adventure and get the Arknight minis and put every Arknight minis with the terrain, maybe some dungeon furnishings and everything. So you would get a whole pack, plug and play pack. You open it up, you've got all your minis, you've got your module, boom, you can rock and roll.
That sounds pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Good idea. So Ed Fleming, and I feel comfortable asking this question and not throwing you under the bus due to an email exchange we've had. Ed Fleming, will we see a Nerdarchy themed dungeon crate?
Oh, well, now I did. This might be a good poll because I did mention that in my email to you guys. I think, my program for having celebrity crates doesn't have to be celebrities. You guys are celebrities in your own right, man. I would love to have you guys get together. Let's curate a crate of things that you like. And
so, now when Ryan was still part of Nerdarchy, I would definitely say this would have been our theme, but now we might have to adjust because, I might be a minority here, but what can we do about the hookers and blow box?
That's an expensive box. Yeah, it's not in $39.90 or $29.99 anymore. It's going to be about $400 a box.
Well, and hookers hate it when you cut them up and put them in the little box.
All right, well, I have to kind of jump in here.
Whoa, what the hell is wrong with me? Can't use this.
So Ed Fleming, the one who asked the question, he says that he wants a Dave mini. That's why he wants a Nerdarchy themed box. Acolyte 14 says it should just be filled with lots of dwarves.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. What kind of Dave mini? Let me see. I go, if you have anything like that, we've got like a gelatinous cube or an orc. We could put Dave mini in the gelatinous cube.
Oh, that would be great.
Or maybe it's your character. Maybe we can find minis that represent like a character that you play. Or and I'm open for all those discussions too, guys. If your fans have things that they'd like to see, or that the majority of your fans would use this or that, I think we could come up with something really cool for everybody.
Cool.
So I know this person has phonetically spelled out their name for me, but I forget what it was. Micaiah. There's way too many vowels in that, and I know it's Hebrew, but my Hebrew is rusty. He's calling for the beard minis Maybe we could do a beard box.
Oh, bearded box.
Cube.
Wow, I'm gonna have to get rolling on that.
Taking 20 bearded cube.
We can have like little barrettes, the D20 barrettes that you can pin into your beard. You know,
there you go. They do. They do have the Viking pieces that you put in your beard when you braid them or whatever.
We should just make a mini that's like a gelatinous cube, only it's a beard cube. Not made of gel. It's made of hair, and it scrubs out the dungeon after the gelatin or before the gelatinous cube comes through, or maybe after, to just give it a nice shine, a nice polish. But it's a big giant 10-foot by 10-foot cube of beard hair.
Well, I think for the next April Patreon awards we're going to do like a beardomancer, and we're going to do a beard golem.
Oh wow. So, or what we could do also is offer, one of you guys you could shave your beard, and we can offer little baggies of your hair in the crates, a little sampler of.
The only problem with that is then we would have to subject our audiences to our faces.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I bet there would be like, hey, this isn't beard hair. That was a terrible joke. Ooh, ow. Gelatinous beard.
And then you'd have people complaining, like I got the wrong Nerdarchist. I wanted so and so, and Dave's got the most beard, so he would be fulfilling most of the clients. Well, what about the people who like Nate or me?
Yeah, there's not the Nate would be much in demand because there's not much to go around.
You'd have to do both, and then people would just collect them all. We can have little like baseball cards that are in there too.
You're laughing about Lavoyer, aren't you? Ted, are you laughing because of Lavoyer?
Yeah, he's.
I love it. The Chia Man Dave, grow your own beard. I need to make this happen.
We can craft something. Oh my gosh.
The Chia, they made Chia everything. That's got to be not that expensive. Come on, they had the Chia Obama, they had Chia gnomes, Chia everything.
Right. Why don't they make like a Chia dwarf like this one has, where you can grow the beard of the dwarf or something?
That would be amazing, I think. Or
a Chia treant. Treant.
So Nate is voting for a topic change.
Okay.
That's because he's got an inferior beard, so it's starting to give him a complex.
Ooh. For the non-beard topic change. All right.
Megan Miller, I'd buy a Nerdarchy Chia pet. See, there you go. Our next venture. Who knew that's the direction we were going to go? Like we were going to do dice or dice trays or something, but no, Chia pets.
No. That was one thing you guys had mentioned too. It was like a dice box.
Yes.
I haven't found out a way to do it yet that would make it even sustainable, or and because we had talked about this before, and I had an idea about what if it was like one of those Ipsies. What if you get a small box and it comes with either one really expensive die or a set each month or something like that.
There was a Kickstarter who actually tried to do a dice box, and it's like, okay, it was going to be like $10 plus shipping a month, and you'd get a brand new set of polys every single month. And they had the first 4 things that were up there that they had designs to do, which the designs themselves looked really cool, but it got nowhere near their actual goal, so it didn't actually happen.
And that's tough too, because I would like to offer something where you don't have to worry about shipping. Now, even with Dungeon Crate, people in the end, you're going to pay 30 for one, but you'll pay 30 for what, $35.95, but the actual price of the box is $29.99.
Mm-hmm.
I can't add in the shipping for that because I have overseas customers. They pay a lot more than you do here in the States, so their cost is actually higher than your cost. So I don't add in the shipping on that. Shipping's on you guys. But for the dice box, I thought it would be cool to do, like, some of the subscription box services have included shipping. So what if it was $10? That included the shipping, domestic only. Is there enough? And it would have to be one of those things to sustain. So yeah, you're going to get a set of Chessex, maybe 3 or 4 different sets from Chessex of different sets of dice. You might get a couple of artesian dice, those prehistoric amber ones. Woo. So, I don't know. Maybe you can get different levels. Like, all right, every month you're going to get level 3, which is like you get one sweet 10,000-year-old die. I don't know. It's hard. The other thing is, I've not done anything like that just because focusing on Dungeon Crate's got to be number one. You know, I don't want to divert my attention too much to other enterprises when I still have people that are wanting us to do better here. So we're always looking to do.
Absolutely, you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
No, it doesn't do anybody any
justice. You guys are still babies anyway. You're still growing, man. You got plenty of room.
Tons. Yeah. One day it'd be cool. I got to get my intern back this summer. Yes. God, going to school and lame stuff like that.
Lame stuff. Yeah. Where did you say you're at? You're in Kansas?
I'm in Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha. Yeah. Hey, Kyle, what are you doing? We need to send you over. We're going to loan you out to Wayne.
I need to make some buttons here. Come on. I need hundreds of buttons made.
That might be our next business venture. We'll just pimping out our intern Kyle.
You think that's going to be sustainable? Are they going to some people are going to like him a lot, and some of them are going to be like, I can't use him.
He's useless. We'll get emails loving him and hating him.
This is a cheap trinket intern. What the hell?
Kyle says, all right, I have a guy for that.
Yeah.
No. Does he have a beard?
No.
Okay, well then that might be all right.
So Acolyte 14, you need to chain the intern in the basement like Nerdarchy does with Kyle. You can't prove that. You have no evidence. You've never seen the actual chains.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This kid's parents might also want him back for some yard work eventually too. So I kind of I'm on a sharing program with his parents.
Son of a. We actually have a serious question from Ed Fleming. Any plans to branch out into any other genres, like maybe science fiction?
Well, not for Dungeon Crate. Dungeon Crate you have to stick with the niche is already so small that you have to stick within that niche. But I do have some intel on some another possible box that I either might be helping out or working with that will have they'll be focused on other games like that. New games, new RPG, new table games that are going to do mainly print, and a few other things that would be more in the sci-fi and the what else? So they're doing Pathfinder. They're doing just a few other things. They're still getting their stuff together. But as far as Dungeon Crate goes, no, I got to stick within our theme.
Fantasy.
That's all. I mean, yeah, I give it all the time. Sometimes I have to go and do modern stuff. Otherwise, this is my basement too. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is the Dungeon Crate office and I work from home, and so does my wife. She's got an office upstairs. We do copywriting for product descriptions online, and so and then also my media room, my TV and everything's right in the next room in the basement. I rarely leave this place. It's weird, but so we've got like all of our stuff. Our shelves of goods. Oh, look, a banner. I wonder how that got up so quickly. And then, little desk and all sorts of stuff. So it's a tiny room, and then we've got all this art desk and the swords. I also do longsword fencing with HEMA.
Nice.
So I like to dress up, but put on our.
You got to pad up.
Yeah, I got to pad up because
You and Ted can do battle.
Yes, Ted. What do you do?
I did Arma for about 8 years.
Oh, right on.
So
I league kind of thing.
Yeah, I would love to get back into it. It's just that whole comment about spreading yourself too thin. That's kind of where I am at the moment. I need to shift a little something off the plate a little, and then I'll have more time to get back into that. But it's a great love of mine. It was the only real exercise I was getting. So
it's
what
so
better
great.
way to get back into it than have Wayne come over and attack you with a longsword?
I'll even bring another one so you can defend yourself.
Oh no, I've got my own stuff. I can go.
Probably within reach. Look, the hilt. You can see the hilt behind him.
Oh really?
Well, I've got a sword here that I keep close to the computer just to be on the safe side.
So look, if you look over, I think if you look over Domo's shoulder when Ted puts his arm down, is that a hilt sticking out?
I've got the Nerf swords over there, and then I've got some LARP weapons over here. But my actual Arma gear is actually in a full zippered golf bag that I keep, around the corner that way.
Those are blunts. Those are blunts that you use that you actually steels that.
I have padded. I have a wooden sparring waster, and then I do have a metal blunt in both longsword and the term short sword doesn't really exist in historical, but a shorter blade that's designed to do sword and buckler.
Sure, like a messer or a saber kind of thing. Yeah,
it's actually my favorite. My armor group, we actually kind of did sword and buckler for about 6 months, and I kind of took the MS 133 and was teaching that course, so I was a blast.
Yeah, I love it. It's been the best exercise that I've ever had, and it's kind of like, yeah, I get to go sword fighting, and it's also with HEMA, it's the historical part. So we're learning we're learning the translated manuscripts of Lichtenhauer.
Yep.
And man, it's super fun. I'm gonna be in my first tournament in Baltimore, Long Point, this fall. I think something like that. I don't know. All I know is I gotta stop eating peanut butter M&Ms and train. I forgot. I have a tournament coming up. I had to actually.
Maybe we can get those Ted versus Wayne battle tickets in the dungeon crate. Possibly a team up with Nerdarchy Patreon reward, and put the tickets in the dungeon crates, pay-per-view maybe.
And you can bet on it, but you can only use fantasy coins.
Yeah, that would be great.
So
that's fantastic.
Fantasy coins. I don't want to give her that.
So now I'm a little afraid, since you're actually talking about
my friends in the death matches.
No. I was talking about actually entering a tournament, and I'm 2 years of not practicing, so I'm certain I'd get my ass handed to me.
I'm not worried about that. It's for the fans and the entertainment.
Yeah, that's right. Dave, of course, doesn't care. What kind is that?
This is one from Purple Heart Armory.
Okay.
This is their fetter. And you can see kind of the tip is
okay. So
but
the ones we use, they actually still have a kind of a tip, so it's a bit of an issue of not thrusting.
Oh yeah. These will thrust really well and they'll bend nicely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've seen those. They're actually really light and kind of belies the information that a lot of RPGs tell you about how much a sword weighs. And I remember playing around with those because they've got that extended handle, and it allows you to get a really good whip. Whereas the swords that I'm used to using, like it's you've got maybe an inch or two in between, so it gives you a lot less play on the hilt when you're looking at it. But people see that and it's like, oh well, that's clearly only a two-handed weapon, but it's light enough that you can do some stuff with just the one hand.
Yeah, and that's the difference between what they I think are explaining in D&D as a long sword, because usually long sword and shield, whereas I would be like, no, I'm not using a shield with this, because actually this is my shield. Whole point of sword usage in this right here is to be able to attack and defend at the same time.
Right.
So it's cool though. But yeah, I've almost broken finger, almost broke a finger, almost broke a forearm. I've cut open my shin. I've gotten several cuts and bumps, and oh gosh, I got bell rung.
That breaks other people's fingers.
Yeah, that is true. I actually had a double injury inside of I don't know, minute or less. In the maybe earlier days of my Arma training, I wasn't very aggressive, and I was holding back far more. And we would meet once a week. Well, the one night I show up and only one guy is there. So he's someone that had been going longer than I had, and we had done it more of a study group than as a I am always in charge and you do what I say type of situation. So he's like, all right, tonight, Ted, we're gonna work on aggression. You're not leaving tonight until I'm confident that you have the ability to be out there and be the aggressor in a spar. So I'm like, all right, no problem. And we sparred and sparred and sparred and sparred, and he drilled and drilled and drilled it into me that I had to get out there and I had to get moving. So the next week we show up, we go through our standard drills. Hour later, it's time for sparring, and we kit up and we go out there, and it's like, all right, who's ready? So I go up against somebody who was used to me being far more timid.
Right.
Well, I come at him with a Zornhowl, and he comes up with an overhand block, but he doesn't pull up high enough. So my blade comes right down onto where his fingers are. Well, we're using padded weapons, but the padded weapons that we use, they're cored with a hockey stick. And we're using gloves. We use the cross gloves, and there's a bit of padding.
Yeah, a bit. So, there's a hole.
But you can only have so much padding to stop this incoming force. Well, I land right on his index finger, and he's like, crap. So he drops his blade, and he shakes off his glove, and his finger's already starting to swell. And sure enough, I broke one of my friend's fingers. So we were literally, only a minute or so into the sparring. So somebody else who had been doing it a while says, well, I'm kitted up. I'll just step in and we'll continue the spar. Literally, first swing, I do the exact same thing. He blocks the exact same way. Rinse, recycle, repeat. He shakes off his glove. His finger starts swelling. I broke 2 fingers literally.
And from that day on, it was known as the Ted maneuver. That's all he does is break fingers, and no one will fight him ever.
Are you not entertained? Whose fingers are next?
So I'm like, so I literally, well, I guess I'm done for the evening. So I just kind of, took my kid off and said, well, we'll see what happens next week, and have not had any further serious injuries. But that was a thing for a while, and it actually kind of forced me to dial back and kind of keep myself in check a little bit longer. And it's like, all right, well, Matt, the guy who kind of nursed the aggression out of me, is like, well, let's see how we can kind of find a happy medium of control and aggression.
And then Ted broke his fingers too. He was suggesting it.
He felt so bad that he broke his own fingers just so that they would be all right with him. They'd still fight. You sacrifice so much for your art.
They've dubbed you Ted Fingerbane. I've seen Fingerbane, Ted Fingerbreaker,
Battle Master of Disarmings.
Yeah, Fingerbreaker. Ted Fingerbreaker Adams. Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Don't shake his hand.
That's how Ted goes into his barbarian rage. He just breaks fingers. That's it.
Yeah.
So one of my hobbies is I have a couple friends that do different things, and it's to get them in the death matches. I have a couple friends that are kung fu masters. Ted does the sword thing.
You just match them up and take the bets.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Like I think Nate was over at my buddy's house with his brother-in-law. And he was like an MMA fighter, and my buddy's been doing kung fu for like 20 years and teaches it. And we're talking, and he's like, "Yeah, kung fu doesn't really work." I said, "Oh, Larry, guess what? This guy said kung fu doesn't really work," because I know it was going to be good. So you just don't say stuff like that to someone who's been doing something for 20 years.
Yeah. So Prue says, "Sir Fingerbane is now going to be an NPC in my game."
Oh, nice. Fingerbane,
the dreaded Fingerbane.
Perfect.
We are 5 minutes past. I'm going to have to wrap this up. I got things to do. Unfortunately, Tuesdays and Thursdays are a bit of a tight schedule for me. But Wayne, we really do appreciate you coming on and everybody hanging out with us in the chat. We've been holding at 50 plus strong throughout the whole thing. These are growing. They're a lot of fun. And we are looking forward to next month's Dungeon Crate. So until next time, guys, stay nerdy.